So I competed in that name censored cup. Now, what you're thinking, Red, why did you have to censor the name and what kind of catastrophe did you get yourself into this time? Well, my dear viewers, we are competing in quite the interesting tournament that I can't really share the name of, at least in the first minute of this video, considering that, you know, YouTube stuff. But what exactly is the format here? What exactly are we going to be running in this tournament? Well, we're going to be explaining that to you right now as I, ooh, that doesn't look good, as I'm fixing up my hair here. We competed in another one of Beastly's free entry cash tournaments, this time with a different restriction than the previous one, which is to run not only the card Cockatrice and Flying Pumpkin, but also making sure that you have no additional units on top of that. The only units that should be counting in your deck are the Cockatrice and the Flying Pumpkin. So there are some ways around that, which we'll get into more when we look at the deck. But I gotta say, surely another fun tournament to be had here. And honestly, Beastly is doing a pretty strong job at running these events. So if you do want to get yourself involved in these, which I think you should if you are a CNC player, regardless of rank, there is, these fun formats that don't require a huge collection, and there is a cash prize at the end of the tunnel if you do make it to the winner's circle. But with that being said, folks, I do want to get into the deck and then the matches. So let's go ahead and take a look at the deck list I ran for this event. So this was our build for the tournament here, and as you guys can see, we maintain that 6 unit count in the deck total by having Cockatrice and Hungering Pumpkin be our only units. But what was the general strategy that I went with? What was sort of the plan I had going into the event? Well, simply put, I wanted to make big mithril units here. See, considering that we were all forced into Warlocks because Flying Pumpkin is a Warlock card, you had the idea that people were definitely going to be running a good amount of burn cards to counteract the Cockatrice or just the swarm that comes out of these, multi-unit summon spells. Things like Dragon's Fire, Flame Storm, or direct burns like Blue Fire and Witch Bolt. And while that is certainly annoying, I figured there could be a fun way around that in the Dwarven Mithril. Honestly, this wasn't the first deck I went with, but after doing some testing with Tweakin before the event actually started, we both kind of worked together to make this deck, which honestly, I had a lot of fun playing in the event. I thought it was going to take me all the way, but you'll see what happens. There's a bit of a spoiler if you haven't watched the Beastly video where the finals are showcased. I'm not in it, but still, I think this was a fun deck to pilot, and the games we got were pretty good. But going ahead, taking a look at what is, inside the rest of the deck, besides the Mithril strategy here, we really have just a lot of troop summons or like unit summon spells, things like Army of the Damned, Rally, Tunnel, Quest. All these were able to bring out units without breaking our unit count, so that was pretty much how you were going to get bodies out onto the board here. And other things too, like the Unholy Altar to spawn in some zombies, as well as Inspire to add some cards directly to your hand, which were units. Also kind of bypassed that unit count restriction. We're able to get us some additional bodies. But further beyond that, there are some things that we included in the deck just to make our build more of a nuisance. Things like Church to give us that consistent healing every turn. Things like Dragon Crest Shield to individually power some of our units here to make them not only tougher to face, but to give us more draw off of that. Things like Plea the Righteous, which given to certain cards, keep them alive for longer in the game, making them harder to get past. There were a bunch of additional cards that I think were really great at sort of being this bit of a nuisance to play around type thing that we ultimately kind of use to reinforce our strategy, which at the end of the day is just get units, get mithril, and go. So ultimately, I again had a lot of fun with this deck, and really not much else to describe beyond that. I mean, I'm going through the list, back and forth here. Some things should be pretty self-explanatory. Divine Knowledge for some draw. Hands the Saint for that big healing if we ever need something beyond the church. Reinforce and Fear to help cycle through bits of the deck to get to some of our unit summon spells a bit faster. So yeah, that is pretty much our deck here. So with that being said, folks, we do have a match to get to. Unfortunately, it is not going to be a round 1 match since we did get a bye in that, so we actually jumped straight to round 2 of the tournament where we had our first match up against Banana 2244. So let's go ahead and jump to that right now. Alright folks, and game number 1 sees us taking on our old pal Banana, although he would not call me a pal. Regardless, we're going to start off not with a best hand, but looking at what we pull. It's alright, it could be a little bit better here. The Cockatrice does help us a little bit, so hopefully we'll get things rolling here. He starts off with a Dragon Search, which interesting, but is a way to get a unit into the hand here. We'll open up with the Cockatrice. We'll see how Banana responds to us. He does have the Shadow Drake, but still is a ways away from summoning it. I actually go ahead and pop in a Dragon Crest Shield onto the Cockatrice to make it a more formidable body to deal with. A 4/6 on turn 4. Not the easiest thing to take out. It can be taken out, but of course Banana will go ahead and do a little bit of stalling with that freezing pillar over there. Certainly a bit annoying. We do opt to Blue Fire here because I don't think that Banana has answers to our Cockatrice if he's forcing himself to freeze it off. You know, wasting a valuable pillar like that just to freeze off this early Cockatrice means that he is in some trouble here. So of course, passing it back to him for turn, he throws out the emote and follows up with a second pillar. A bit unfortunate there, but hey, we do force a second pillar out of him, which is alright. Certainly not too bad here. I do pull the plea, which I do debate on using here and actually go ahead and follow up with, because again, it's very hard, I think, for at this point for him to get rid of the Cockatrice, and putting Resolve on it just gives that extra layer of annoying, that annoyingness that he needs to get through here. He does follow up with the Tunnel Escape, which would have been enough to connect to the Cockatrice, but obviously, since we now have the Resolve, it would take much more than just the 2 Dwarven Miners here. So I follow up with the Fear. I'm looking for just any sort of unit generation here. We do have the Army of the Damned, but that is, of course, on the slower side of things here. And, of course, something like a Flamestorm can get a lot of value from something like an army here. But we go ahead and risk it. We want to establish some more bodies here since now he is opening up with things like Tunnel Escape. This is where we're going to start to get into the unit side of the matchup here with spells like Rally, like Tunnel. Thankfully, he's not running the quest because, of course, he's lacking the Crusader colors to do so. Does pop a Sniper out of a call for to war. That is pretty nice, especially since I did waste the blue Firebolt. So got to hand it to him there. That was a nice little pickup. He does go ahead and make a trade into one of the 3 zombies. Meanwhile, the other one running up top there, not doing a whole lot. And follow up with the coin out into that Shadow Drake that he pulled from the Dragon Search at the beginning of the game here. And of course, I think looking for some way to potentially remove the Cockatrice here. Noticing that, I am going to go ahead and follow up with the second Dragon Crest Shield on Cockatrice. You know, getting a whole lot of draw from it, at least, is the plan. We also follow up with the Church. If he can't kill the Cockatrice, at least maybe we can get a little bit of cheeky healing onto it to keep it alive for a little bit longer here. He did throw the Shadow Drake all the way up front. Not sure if he had anything specifically to do with that, but of course, it does have the ability to strike the castle now with Lightning Blade too. It is a little bit scary if that does go through. It would make it a 7/7, delivering a total of, I think, 10 damage to face, which is very difficult here. But I mean, the hesitation kind of potentially shows that he does not actually have Lightning Blade here, as shown by the fact that he's kind of doubling back with the Sniper here. We're seeing the Cockatrice go ahead and take out one of the Miners here. We do also get the Shadow Drake putting work into the remaining Dwarven Miner. Thankfully discarding, I think, one of the copies of Hungering Pumpkin in our hand, so not a huge loss for us. He does follow with Rally of the Town as well, and a Grotesque, which is cool draw for sure, especially with a lot of these smaller units that you may not need. As a nice way to get some more tools and resources into your hand. We didn't run Grotesque in the build, obviously, but still got to point that out. That is a nice little inclusion there. We do debate Flamestorm here because we can snipe off the 2 peasants, but we do ultimately lose our zombie. I think I don't go for. Oh, I do go for it here. Honestly, sometimes I don't remember what I do. I follow with the Flamestorm. It does weaken most of his board while also killing off the two peasants. I follow with the Rally of my own to get some additional bodies out onto the board. And I think I simply pass here. Yeah, because I don't want to push that last remaining peasant into sniper range here. And we do go with the Flamestorm, or at least the Church, because we do have that nice little healing as you're seeing now. Banana opting to fear the Peasant. Go ahead and land 5 into face with the Shadow Drake. Following up with another Call to War. Results in a Master at Arms, which is actually not a bad card to pull from it. Although the second Flamestorm in my hand is going to get a lot of value here, as you'll see in a moment. Banana slaps the Unholy Altar down, which is okay for sure. But at this point here, I do see the opportunity and I do want to take it. So Master Arms landing onto, or at least me trading with the Master Arms there. We also hit into the Shadow Drake. We follow with the Flamestorm here, I think, even though we do lose most of the board here. It is a pretty... Actually, no, I think Dragon Crest Shield. Yeah, I go Dragon Crest Shield Peasant to keep something alive to, just get through the armor. And I think we do end up Flamestorming, but of course we want the Dragon, we want the draw. See if anything better comes into our hand here. The second Church pickup is very nice since we can now replace the one that we lost, so we're not too bent out of shape here. And overall, we're putting some good damage onto Banana's board here. Now, of course, I did end up using a lot of Flamestorms there, and of course, there is a big threat in this format known as Eternal Darkness, the one that summons, a horde of zombies. So I am a little worried about that going into the later stages of the matchup here. I do follow up with the Church here, as well as the Divine Knowledge, and of course the Armory of the Damned, just to get more bodies out on the board here to try and contest with what's going on. I do ultimately trade one of the peasants into the zombies as well. It's pretty much free considering we have that armor, so it's not a huge loss for us. And of course Church is going to do work here, healing up the bits of our castle. Moving to turn 10, Banana will go for the peasant removal, I believe, here. Yep, zombie go in there as well. And does follow up with one Eternal Darkness, which, of course, very problematic. While there isn't Rakanoth in the format that we have to be worried about here, these zombies can still do a whole lot of damage, just, being a nuisance on the board. And I do certainly recognize that here, and it's why I think I go for the Rally Dwarven Mithril play here. Actually, not yet. I think I just have to move around some things first. You'll see me debate on which ones I want to throw out here. Actually, no, I think I do go with the Mithril play, because I'm scared of Pumpkin potentially discarding the Mithril and all of our value going into the toilet. So I think we do end up going with the Mithril first to buff everything just a little bit here. And then the Hungering Pumpkin discards on our Unholy Altar, which is certainly a bit of a loss, but not too much of a loss, I would say. And of course, meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and connect a lot of our zombies in. Just trading out for some damage here. These actually are... The Mithril is helping us make more efficient trades, because of course, we're keeping our own bodies while Banana is losing his own. So of course, while we're not ultimately keeping the buff from Mithril, everything pretty much trades out in our favor, so we're not too bent out of shape. We do end up seeing these zombies going ahead, hitting into face here. He does want to try and weaken us to the point of just ending us in maybe like sudden death, or maybe he has additional burn or something. I wasn't too sure. But we have the Church, so that is another big factor about why it's going to be harder the longer this matchup goes for Banana, because we can, of course, get that continual healing onto our face here. He pulls out a second Unholy Altar, which I'm not too happy about, but we do have another copy of Blue Fire, so that is kind of okay with us. Also follows up with a Hungering Pumpkin, which, of course, is going to make a run for face here, or at least in the middle there, which, again, is certainly a bit interesting there. We do pull the Inspire. That is going to get us some scouts to work with. These guys are going to be quite good, especially because these guys don't have 2 health like the zombies and the peasants do. We do end up seeing a couple of trades here as well. Yep, and then of course we are going to bolt away the altar, the healthier of the two, just to slow down the amount of zombies that Ben is producing on the board. And do I follow with a Rally? I'm not sure. I think I go Scout Inspire. Yeah, we do go Scout Inspire, just to get some more options into our hand here, so that we don't have to waste the gold into our next turns either. And I mean, overall, we're looking at a pretty good spot here. We're pretty even on castle health. We do have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to unit count on board here until he throws out the second copy of Eternal Darkness. Now, this one not thrown as aggressively as the first one was, but still a bit of a problem considering that this is just a lot of bodies very instantaneously. And of course, while we have things like Scout and the more charged up zombie, to deal with it, it's certainly looking rough here. Thankfully, we do get the Peasant heal, so of course, Peasant can make a trade while also surviving, which is good. We do also have the Guardian, which has the armor, which you're going to see I'm going to summon right now, just because I know I want to do that for sure. Getting out that free body that can easily trade with these zombies here is just very, very crucial at this point. And I mean, at this point, we're also debating on what points we want to hit on the board here. What we fear is going to probably do the most damage. Things like the Hungering Pumpkin, which we're going to see we're going to take out right there. We're also going to debate the Rally just to get more bodies to help equalize the board a little bit here. Or Hands as well. I also debate Hands here, which I think, okay, I do go for Hands just because it is, you know, going to get a lot of value here, just healing us up fully to 10. We do have other things like Scout as well in our hand to help clearing up the board if we so choose, or Knight of Flowers, which I think I would have to play a little bit more behind. But yeah, we're going to see trades going on here. Scout going to come up, smack that top zombie, and a simple pass after that, I believe, is the follow-up here. And at this point, I'm really concerned about just Lightning Blade, how that can completely ruin a couple of things we have here. The 2-for-1 trade that the Lightning Blade enables. Not even that. The zombie would survive because of that stat bonus from the Lightning Blade. The third call to war from Banana, yielding him a sniper, which again is not bad. We do, unfortunately for him, have the third copy, I think, of Blue Fire in hand, which is very nice to see. We'll be able to get rid of that. And I think at this point he's debating on how he can protect that sniper, what's the best way to do that. We're going to see a lot of trades here as well from the zombies. It looks like the middle zombie going to go ahead, slap in for 2, which is no big deal. Like, we do have that Guardian still, so the Guardian is able to trade with the zombie without losing any health, really, which is fantastic. And of course, these other zombies are trying to protect the sniper, although Pumpkin is going to be the card that finishes off our bottom zombie here. As you can see, also trying to play around, just blocking for sniper. We do, unfortunately for him, have that Blue Fire, though, which I think if he does opt to protect the sniper, we do have to immediately get rid of it here. Unsure if things like maybe Demon Rage, or Demonic Rage, excuse me, are in his hand, which could be very problematic. We end up just simply setting up here on our side, going with a altar of our own, the Knight of Flowers, and the Fear on that upmost zombie here, just to get some draw going. We do ultimately want to look for things like our Quest for the Holy Grail in the deck, which is going to be a big swing because we can pull off that Mithril more effectively if we do have it. Although, meanwhile, Banana follows up with the third copy of Eternal Darkness. And at this point, man, I am not too happy about that. I mean, sure, maybe like 1 is fine, 2, okay, but 3, man, like, he's complaining that, I mean, he didn't draw his burns in this game so far, but, man, there's so many zombies on this board. Ay. So, of course, passing back to me, we do get the Hungering Pumpkin. We do get the Fear, which are, of course, are pretty nice cards. And honestly, I think I make a misplay here just based on what I wanted the Fear to do. I kind of wanted to Fear back a unit to be able to get the maximum spawn out of Rally, but I just really stupidly put it on that back corner zombie where it can't move anywhere because I forgot about the pathing in regards to zombies. So not exactly what I want the Fear to do, so we have to kind of recover here if we can, which I think we still can for sure. As you can see momentarily, I think we are going to go ahead and bring out the Cockatrice, if I remember correctly. I think our play is Cockatrice into the Quest for the Holy Grail. just to establish those bodies and to even further set up the Dwarven Mithril play in the following turn. And of course, timer starts to click down. We have to commit to the Cockatrice, and I don't know why I didn't go for the quest here. I had the gold, but I think I was just so tunnel visioned on Rally. I do ultimately reinforce my castle as well, just for a little bit of a health bonus here, because ultimately our goal is going to be staying alive. We don't have to really do damage to Banana, but we have to ensure that our castle survives, and by using things like the church and the reinforces in our hand, it's going to be absolutely crucial that we play these to get our castle into a healthy life total. But yeah, I can't believe I just missed the quest for the Holy Grail. I guess I just wasn't mathing at that point. I was so worried about all the bodies. But of course, going back to him, I think he put another Dragon Search. I might have just actually missed that. But regardless, I mean, we're in sort of the thought process of the game of how can we get the most damage possible. Banana discards the Reinforce out of a hand by killing the Cockatrice, leaving me with just the Knight of Flowers. He follows up with the Freezing Pillar, the third copy, which is okay. That does sort of, in my mind, foreshadow potentially more chain in the deck, which would be quite problematic indeed. Follows up with the Cockatrice here as well. And of course the Ice Drake from the Dragon Search, which I think he did play Dragon Search, so that pretty much confirms it to me. But anyway, we are going to get some more healing from our church here. We do end up passing back the turn. And honestly, here I was I did consider the tunnel escape here, but I thought the quest was going to be a lot more beneficial, not only for just the amount of bodies, but also the quality of bodies here. We do have the Dwarven Paladin coming out from this, which gives us a great opportunity to heal up our castle, as you'll see here in a moment. We can, of course, hit that, get some health going. And, of course, Banana's running out of time here, as you can see. He's only got 5 HP left on the castle here, so really only has a few more rotations left before the game ends. And, of course, I move the zombie down to protect our base from the Cockatrice, the incoming Cockatrice, excuse me. Which, of course, is going to deal a healthy amount of damage if left to hit face here. Banana, though, follows up Winds of the North, which I thought was an interesting choice. This is going to allow his zombies to reach my Knight of Flowers to connect either with Cockatrice or with the Ice Drake. I think he goes Cockatrice here, so that way he can use the Ice Drake up top to connect to the Questing Knight without losing that Ice Drake, which, again, in the name of this format, you do want to keep bodies by making those efficient trades. So it just makes sense that he goes for those top units here to keep his own alive. Also follows up with the Molten Pillar, and I was not happy about that, considering I didn't really have a clear way to remove it without taking a ton of additional damage. He ends up connecting to the Paladin to, I believe, freeze it off. Yeah. But, of course, I do have the resolve on it, so I'm not too upset. Thankfully, though, to end off the game, we did draw our Flamestorm. We do end up burning Banana for that last bit of damage, so that way we don't have to worry about the Molten Pillar. But if the game had gone on probably a little bit longer, who knows if I might have been able to survive through the pillar to that last bit of damage. But anyway, I do kind of debate here. I don't actually realize the Flamestorm right away until I connect with it, and then realize that I don't actually have to worry about it. So I discard the last card in his hand. With the Cockatrice, pass it back. We take the fire from the pillar, but no big deal. That is lethal, and of course we do come out with the victory. A very close game to open up our tournament adventure for sure. But I mean, it was a great matchup. Thankfully, we did get to show off why the Mithril was very impactful, or at least why that was sort of the reason I picked Mithril, just for matchups like that where you can make a lot more efficient trades. It's just super beneficial, and with things like Quest and Tunnel Escape available in the card pool, it makes accessing those Dwarven spells just a bit more viable. So with that being said, folks, we do have another matchup to get to. We do have a tournament to continue, so let's go ahead and continue our next matchup here in match number 2. Alright, and game number 2 sees us taking on Jump, which he's out for revenge, obviously, from that underground event we did a few weeks back here. So, jumping into the game, our hand, not too bad. We do have the Fear, we do have some burns to help us out, but I wish we would have something to generate us some units early. As you can see, the Quest and the Mithril combo is in hand. But we're quite a ways away from actually pulling that off in the second quest. Kind of bums me out just a little bit further here. Certainly annoying. So, meanwhile, Jump didn't do much either for his opening turns here. He goes with the Crumbling Archives, which is interesting, I have to admit. I didn't expect people to be playing Crumbling Archives in this format, but I guess the draw power over time is nice. So, that is all well and good here. We do get the Divine Knowledge, which we end up playing here, pulling us, I think, the Inspire and the Second Knowledge. He goes for the Unholy Altar, and I am certainly not too keen on that. I did make a bit of a misplay here, pop the Inspire a little bit too early here to negate ourselves that 1 unit rather than getting us 2. A bit annoying, but it is what it is. It was just a simple miscalculation on my part, and hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. So, I mean, we did pull the Sniper, which is pretty actually good considering that we run the Mithril combo in here. So, that is essentially the goal, establishing Mithril Sniper for the rest of this game here. Meanwhile, Jump goes ahead, throws out his first rally of the game, getting some peasants out onto the board here, doing their thing. Not too bad, not too bad. I think we respond by fearing the Utmost Peasant and then following up with that Sniper. I could have thrown the Army of the Damned out, but of course I just want to get this Sniper out as soon as possible here. Maybe not a good idea because it does attract some burns to his face here. Things like the Witch Bolt, things like Blue Fire, things like even Disintegrate, the ones that deal 3 damage, can easily bop out the Sniper without Mithril being attached to it first. So I was a little nervous about letting this survive here, but we do ultimately get to keep the Sniper for this round as our opponent goes into the altar. He pulls a Fear of his own, fearing back our Sniper as well, which is fine. That does give us room to follow up with a... I don't remember if I Armory or Divine here. Or Army, Plea, or Divine. I think I might have gone with Army just to set up more bodies for the Quest Mithril combo, but might have been beneficial to play the Plea onto the Sniper. I don't know if my mind was thinking at the time that it would be more beneficial to play Plea with at least 2 units on board rather than just the Sniper. But hopefully we'll be able to play the Army without having to worry about things like, you know, Dragon's Fire, which I don't believe he throws out this turn. Yeah, he establishes the Armory, so his boys are going to get a little bit stronger, which is actually a fine way to improve your own units in this format here. I didn't go with Armory because I thought my Mithril was going to do that for me, just provide that big global advantage. But of course, Jump getting his engine off the runnings here. I do follow up with the quest for the Holy Grail because, again, I do want to try and activate this Mithril in the next turn. That is the goal, to create those big units here. And in the meantime, as you can see here, we're just kind of playing passive at the moment here. We don't really want to rush in. We don't want to commit anything. We don't want to make anything line up for a trade. I think except for this question, like just to, you know, bait him into maybe coming in. Just making a single trade here won't hurt him is probably what goes through his mind in that portion. But my setup is for nothing. Dragon's Fire hits the board at an incredibly correct time, and so I lose a lot of what I had built up on the board, including our Sniper, which of course definitely hurts our strategy here. I do have the quest for the Holy Grail, the second copy, but as you can see, things are going to get really bad for us here. We end up facing the 5/5 Cockatrice, and of course Jump sees the opportunity to rush into my face here with the remaining units he has on board, those 3/3 peasants as well as these zombies. And realistically, I don't really have much I could do to clean this up. If I wanted to, I think I really wanted to kind of find someone to get questing Mithril. I was trying to get back to the combo. I could have played Cockatrice and Dwarven Mithril, but again, I just don't think it would have been able to do what I wanted to do. I think at this point I was hoping for a second Flamestorm as well, because that also could have cleaned up the Armory and the Altar, as well as connecting and killing off everything on Jump's side of the board here to try and equalize the board state a little bit here. But he does end up getting some nice aggression, as you can see here, as a result of his early Dragon's Fire. Of course, Dwarven Paladin trying to do anything that it can here to kind of slow things down. even throwing the paladins out to block, which in hindsight may not have been a good idea because these were my, cards to establish a Dwarven Mithril play. So if I drew things like Rally next turn, it'd be really dumb of me to just throw away my paladins like that. But he does that on the second of the two, or second armory, which is very, very problematic at this point because now there's a whole lot of damage coming onto the board here. We do see the Cockatrice move in for additional 6 damage. I don't know if he trades the Peasant here. I don't think he did. Because I think in his mind, he was thinking that there was no way. Actually, no, he does. Okay. He does connect to it. My mistake. I think he did that in the incorrect order, though. I think he may want to have traded first and then do the damage. But I see this. I'm kind of not in a good spot. I'm trying, as you'd see now, to actually pull out a Flamestorm from my deck via any means necessary. I think off of this, I discard the Rally, which is annoying, but we do have to kind of take that sacrifice here. One more Flamestorm pretty much equalizes the game for us here. It can bring us back in. We do have the hands for follow-up. So at this point, we were just hoping for some kind of Flamestorm. Even more so now with the Eternal Darkness pull. And of course, he ends up rushing into face pretty well here. Even with these, I was thinking, okay, if I could pull a Flamestorm, it's not going to be a huge deal because, again, we burn off all the zombies here. We burn his back row. We can hands up as well to follow up and easily bring ourselves back into the game. Unfortunately, we did not pull the Flamestorm in that moment, but we do, again, have the hands. So we do end up playing this along with Army of the Damned. And I forget if we play Cockatrice here as well, just to clean up the board even more so here. Yeah, we do take that trade there. In hindsight, maybe not smart to go into the 4-2. Maybe should have traded equally into the 4-4. But again, I was just really tunnel visioning here for any signs of Flamestorm in the deck. But yeah, as you can see, the zombies are dealing a massive amount of damage each turn here. I don't know if actually this was lethal. I think, could he have 4, 4, 4? Yeah, no, he's off by 3. Landing all the zombie shots in. Thankfully, the hands was actually what we needed to keep ourselves alive here for the moment. But ultimately, it comes down to this draw. We need to pull a Flamestorm here in order to keep us inside the matchup and to keep us alive in the tournament, mind you. So, of course, very, very big stakes on this next draw. And, of course, Jump kind of establishing, I believe, the worst possible scenarios for him. I think he was trying to figure out how he could brace for something like Flamestorm if I was able to get the second copy out. Because he does, of course, still have that 10 gold here. I don't know if he actually does anything or if he just passes. I don't remember. Of course, the clock starts ticking for him. Needed to make up his mind here and ultimately passes, which I think is the smarter play because if I do end up pulling that second Flamestorm, which unfortunately you see there we did not. If I did pull it, then of course he wouldn't have some things in his hand to keep for following turns here. But ultimately, it didn't matter. I didn't pull the Flamestorm, so of course that will be our game loss. And unfortunately, folks, an end to our tournament run. I know, certainly sad, certainly annoying to go into, I believe, quarterfinals and get beaten out, but it is what it is. We were unfortunately not able to pick up the win here. And of course, Jump ends up going on here, which I don't know if you guys want spoilers, but again, you know what? If you guys want to see how this the rest of the tournament goes, be sure to watch Beastly's video down below, because that is something I should have done before that sentence came out of my mouth. But you know what? It is what it is. So, with that being said, folks, that is, of course, going to end our tournament run. Let's go ahead and move to close out the video here and to give you guys my thoughts on what this tournament was like. Alright, folks, and with that being said, of course, that is going to conclude our video here. I know a little bit shorter from the last tournament we were in, but really, these tournament videos do depend on how far we actually get inside of the tournament itself. With the round 1 bye, I find it certainly annoying because it provides less content for you guys to enjoy here. So kind of being put up to that second round immediately and then ending up losing in the quarterfinals definitely hurts the overall matches that I can give you in this video. But you know what? It is what it is, and hopefully we'll be able to bounce back for any sort of future tournament that happens in the future. Of course, Beastly is still very keen on hosting these, and of course maybe some more are in the future. So of course, if you want to know when those tournaments are, be sure to follow the Discord channels below. Of course, those are pretty much the hub of the information where you could find for these events. So if you are interested in playing these tournaments, again, be sure to check down below. But with that being said, folks, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Be sure to share with your friends. Of course, comment down below your thoughts, as well as subscribe if you're new to the channel or haven't done so already. It greatly supports us here, and of course, gets us ever so closer to that 1K milestone. Of course, less than 80 subs away from hitting that goal. So hopefully we'll be able to hit it very, very soon. But with that being said, folks, that's going to do it for me for now. Until next time, stay gaming.